The story begins with the introduction of Sok Jin, a college student from a very wealthy family who's never worked. However, he has dedicated himself to studying because his parents want him to be the very best. Every day, he wakes up at 4 a.m. and devotes all his time to his studies, leaving no time for leisure. Despite all this hard work, he always comes in second in his class, much to his frustration. In the next scene, Sok Jin is chatting with his best friend Gwang, who's heard a rumor that the top student, Kyung Ju, has transferred abroad. This means he will no longer be in second rank and will finally secure first place. Unfortunately, as they're celebrating the news, they notice Kyung Ju arriving at school. Sok Jin then becomes frustrated as his hope of becoming the top student is shattered. That evening, Sok Jin and his friends attend a freshers party where they meet several new students. One of them, named Jisoo, captures his attention, and she also appears to be interested in him. The group then talks about how Jin-sok always gets second rank, and that's why his nickname is second best. However, Jisoo tells him that he can be first if he wants, and encourages him to work hard. Highly motivated by her words, he declares that he will secure the first position this semester. However, his friends don't believe him, so they make a bet. If he doesn't achieve first place, he will wear a t-shirt with the phrase "Forever Second Place" and perform a tap dance in front of the entire college. Sok Jin accepts this challenge and even live streams a video to announce it to everyone. Afterward, he talks with Gwang and seeks ideas on how to surpass Kyung Ju. He's annoyed that she works multiple jobs and still manages to be the top of the class. Gwang then says that there are two ways to defeat an enemy, either by killing them or by making them fall in love. He then suggests his friend confess his love in a way that will disgust her so much that she won't be able to focus on school. Sok Jin thinks it's a crazy plan, but he decides to give it a try. The next morning, he places a chocolate in Kyung Ju's locker along with an anonymous note expressing his feelings and mentioning that he will be watching her during the presentation. When she finds these items, she doesn't pay much attention, while Sok Jin watches her from a distance and giggles. He thinks it's enough to bewilder her, but to his dismay, it doesn't work, and she ends up delivering an outstanding presentation. Gwang tells an annoyed Sok Jin that he needs to confess to her directly. So that evening, he goes to meet Kyung Ju and admits in a cheesy and weird manner that he's always liked her. He then asks if she would be his girlfriend, and to his surprise, she accepts and claims that she likes him as well. Hearing this, he's so shocked that he hastily runs away without saying anything. In the next scene, we see Kyung Ju telling her friend what happened. It turns out she already knew about his plan as her friend overheard the boys' conversation that afternoon. Her plan is to distract him with fake dating so that his rank will go even lower than second. On the other hand, Sok Jin rushes to meet his friends and he can't believe Kyung Ju accepted his proposal. He tells them that he wants to end the bet and he can't take it anymore. But currently, Gwang is busy consoling their other friend who has failed his exams after breaking up with his girlfriend. Seeing this, Sok Jun realizes that falling in love will distract her from her studies, and he decides to fake date her. For the next few days, he pretends to be head over heels in love with her and follows her everywhere she goes. He even visits all her workplaces and brings her flowers and gifts. Since he's devoting all his time to following her, he's not focusing on his studies. One evening, he arrives outside her workplace to accompany her home. As they walk together, he asks her about her dream and discovers that they share the same one, which is to secure a good job and have a happy family. Moments later, he notices a cut on her hand and tries to check it. Thinking he wants to hold her hand, she hits him in the throat, leaving him gasping for air. Seokjin then says that since they're dating, it's normal to hold hands. However, she's so embarrassed by her actions that she runs away. The following day, the couple goes to an escape room for their first date. There, they spend 3 hours playing but don't make any progress in their relationship. So Seokjin decides that he needs to do something drastic to prove that he likes her. He then approaches her and kisses her on the cheek. As he prepares for the next kiss, she unexpectedly grabs his face and begins kissing him aggressively. He's shocked by her sudden kiss and wonders how she's so good at it. Eventually, he gives in and begins enjoying the moment. But moments later, a voice comes over the loudspeaker asking them to stop making out, so they separate. Later, as they walk home, they both seem uncomfortable and consider calling it quits on the whole fake dating situation. Suddenly, Kyungju receives a call and learns that her grandma has been admitted to the hospital. Since it's too late for the bus, Seokjin offers to drive her there, and she accepts. When they arrive at the hospital, Kyungju cries in front of her grandmother and begs her to stop working. We discover that she was raised by her grandmother in the countryside, and all they have is each other. Seeing this emotional moment, Seokjin is also visibly moved. Later, when Grandma is discharged from the hospital, he offers to give the two women a ride home. But Grandma claims that she can't have him driving all the way back to the city at this hour, so she suggests he spend the night there with them. Hearing this, the two try to resist, but eventually comply due to Grandma's insistence. Later, when they arrive home, Kyung-ju shows him the room where he'll be staying and then thanks him for his help. After she leaves, he finds a picture of her in the room, which makes him happy. The next day, Sok-jun wakes up in the afternoon, and this shocks him. While having breakfast with Kyung-ju, he says this is the first time he didn't wake up at 4 a.m. He feels so relaxed in this place, he asks if he can stay one more day. She tries to refuse him, but just then Grandma arrives and says that he can stay as long as he wants. That afternoon, the three go to the farmer's market and have a good time together. She also shows him around the village on her bicycle. At dawn, the two sit down to rest and take pictures of the beautiful scenery. During this time, Kyung-ju secretly takes his picture and complains that she has to carry him on her bicycle. He explains that he doesn't know how to ride one because his parents are so strict about his studies that they never taught him how. He's used to putting so much pressure on himself that the countryside feels like an escape. However, Kyung-ju claims that it's the opposite for her because this is a place she wants to escape from. She says that her dream is to be able to move her grandma out of here. Sok-jin finds this admirable. Kyung-ju then smiles and says she will teach him how to ride a bike. The next morning, Sok-jin bids farewell to Grandma, and she compliments him for being kind and smart. She tells him that his parents must be proud to have such a good son. He responds that he's only second best in class, but Grandma states that second place is also good since not everyone can achieve that. She then gives him some money, and he reluctantly accepts it as he doesn't want to disrespect her. Days later at school, Sok-jin finds out that Kyung-ju has gone to the infirmary due to a nosebleed. He goes to look for her when suddenly he comes across Jisoo. She asks why he's been so distant these days and mentions the rumors about him and the smart girl. She asks if they're dating because even their profile pictures were taken at the same location. Sok-jin denies this, and at that moment, Kyung-ju also shows up and agrees with his statement. She tells Jisoo not to worry about them because they don't even like each other. After Jisoo leaves, Sok-jin feels bad, so he tells Kyung-ju that it's better to keep their relationship a secret. He asks her why she got a nosebleed, and she claims it's due to work stress. He then offers to cover her shift, saying that he always wanted a part-time job, but she tells him that if he actually needs a job, he should start looking for one himself. Later, when Sok-jin arrives home, his father scolds him for not studying and always being second. Furthermore, he calls him stupid and claims that if he comes in second again, he will send him to the military. In the next scene, Gwang tells Sok-jin that he should break up with Kyung-ju right before the exam so that she won't be able to focus. However, our hero thinks it's a bit harsh and refuses to do so. Afterward, he meets with Kyung-ju, and before he can say anything, she suggests they break up. When he asks for the reason, she claims that he's not the ideal boy for her. During the exam, Sok-jin can't concentrate and keeps looking at her. After the exams are over, he approaches her in the library and offers to carry her books, but she refuses. She claims that she knows everything about his plans to sabotage her. Sok-jin admits that he lied to her, but claims he was desperate. She doesn't understand this and points out that he's not in debt, nor does he need to worry about getting a scholarship like her. Sok-jin argues that money doesn't equal everything and talks about his parents' pressure. However, Kyung-ju says she doesn't care about his problems because unlike him, her livelihood depends on her grades. Days later, the exam results come out, and Sok-jin is shocked to find out that he has secured first place this time. Jisoo congratulates him and asserts that she knew he could do it. However, he gets worried about Kyung-ju and how she must be feeling. Seeing this, Jisoo claims that she knew something was going on between them and angrily leaves. Afterward, Sok-jin arrives at a restaurant to have lunch with his parents. His mother congratulates him for securing first place, but his father claims it's not a big deal and tells her to stop pampering their son. With this, he finally realizes that no matter what he does, it will never be enough for his overbearing father. So, he places his credit card, car keys, and watch on the table, saying that second place is also good. After this, he rushes to Grandma's village and returns the money she gave him. He tells her that he doesn't deserve it and starts crying. At that moment, Kyung-ju also arrives and they sit down. They chat about various topics, including their family and lives. Sok-jin then says he wants to stay for the night because he wants her to teach him how to ride a bike. Our girl feels bad for him, so she agrees with a sweet smile. The following day, she teaches him how to ride a bike, and during this time, the two reconcile. Days later, we see that Sok-jin has left his home and is living alone in a modest apartment. He returns to school on a bike, and for the first time in his life, he feels a sense of freedom. Afterward, he approaches Kyung-ju in the library and tells her that he likes her and wants to date her for real. But she doesn't respond because she doesn't trust him yet. After class ends, Sok-jin appears outside the college wearing a t-shirt with the phrase, "Kyung-ju, I like you." He then starts tap dancing, and seeing this, everyone begins making fun of him. However, he doesn't care at all because Kyung-ju is happy to see him. At the end of his dance, he approaches her with a bouquet and asks her to be his girlfriend. She jokingly says that she should have accepted him the first time to avoid this embarrassment. Kyung-ju finally accepts, and everyone cheers for them. The couple then hold hands and run away from there as the story comes to an end.